Huh. Okay. Can you guys hear me? Can someone drop a comment like I can hear you? That would be really cool. And then we can get this thing started. And I gotta go soon, so I'm just gonna answer a bunch of questions. I'll answer a bunch of questions from people and then hop off. So let's see here. Got it. Cool. Boom. One sec, guys. Live Q&A. Boom. Let's see. Okay. We're about to talk about apartment locating and remote rentals and real estate and how to make six figures by just doing this easier job compared to being a realtor or appraiser or commercial agent. There's just a lot of harder things you can do with a real estate license, but locating always tends to be the most simplest, like less challenging, no contracts. So that's why we're talking about this niche today. Let's see. Boom. Okay, cool. Let's see. What's up, Ryan? Hi, Pierre. I submitted the blueprint and welcome call is booked. I'm an old school 2.0 student. What's up, Ryan? I'm glad you're booked. If you guys aren't on the YouTube, you might find more people on the YouTube and you can see the comments on there and interact with people. So YouTube is like really the main platform we go live on. All right, let's see. What today? Comments. Hello from South. What's up, Eric? How are you, brother? Let's see. Good. Okay, cool. So you can hear me. That's good. All right, this one will be this is going to be a quick Q&A though. I've got like 6 questions here from our school members. But before we start, let me do the little intro. One sec. Boom. Welcome to the live Q&As. In this live stream, you can ask me anything you want. I'm an expert when it comes to apartment locating, digital marketing, paid advertising, organic tactics, really everything in the real estate industry or digital marketing industry. Why do we choose to be locators over realtors? The reason we choose to leverage our real estate license and specifically become locators over realtors is because the job is easier and we can make more money. That's just the quick answer. Nowadays, locators average closer to 80K a year. Okay, some make way more, some make less. And then realtors average 50K, which is a little higher than what the old average, I think, was 45K for realtors for like the longest time. Now that's increased to 50K. But hey, locators average 80. So I was saying this to everyone years ago. No one really believed me except for our students. But nowadays, what's really exciting is that you can just go to Indeed or Glassdoor or ask ChatGPT, and it'll just prove that for you. Locators make more money because the business is easier. All right. While realtors have to deal with so many steps before they close a client, locators, we can just post a bunch of free ads, take 10-minute Zoom calls, send the clients by themselves. They drive by themselves to the apartments. They write our name down, and that's our commission right there. What's even more amazing is that we're positioning ourselves as agents, helping our clients during the first stage of home ownership. Because what do you think people do before they buy a house? They rent an apartment. That's the natural first step evolution before someone saves a bunch of money, advances in their career, and then decides to buy a house. So what's really amazing if you're following along is that, yes, the business is easier, we can make more money, but inevitably, as long as you've got a CRM like that's sophisticated, you can automatically nurture relationships with your renter clients that are already making you 6 figures. You can nurture that relationship, extract more referrals from their friends or family, and do the same easy job of referring them to an apartment. But what's amazing is that once these renters evolve and become first-time home buyers, it's so much easier to work with the same client that already has a business relationship with you. So that's how you can kind of take that renter lead, evolve it into a first-time home buyer, and that's 10 or 20K a pop. That's why we're so excited about this industry. Anyhow, welcome to the Q&As. In just a second, it will start, and then you'll get to ask me whatever you want live. See you real soon. Let me add myself back in here. How do I do? There we go. Okay. Um, cool. Let's see. Along with lavender tripod. So what's up, Eric? You're saying you have a DJI Pocket 2. Yeah, those are good. Along with lavender and tripod. What's your recommendation for lighting when I do like the video shoots? Yeah, dude, just any kind of lighting. Like, what am I using? There's one. What is this? Let's see. Uh, Amaron 300C. Yeah, so this one that I'm using, this lighting is like the Amaron 300C. Let me just post a comment for you. This is like as close as you can get to professional lighting without spending like a grand. These are like 400 bucks and it's the same thing. And then you need like the bubble. Let me see if I can show you this thing. Hold on. You see like you see that? You need like the bubble head. That's like the best fit for that. All right, I just shot it over to you in the comments, Eric. Yeah, get the Amaron 300C. It's like RGB too, so you can like change the colors and everything. That one's really good. There's another one too that's like 190 bucks. It's really good. I forget the brand. I'll just DM me in the school or Instagram and I'll shoot you what I have. All right, so Jasmine is asking, like, what do you say on the like? What should I say on the first call to sound confident and like, but still control it and get through it quick? Yeah, yeah. So Jasmine, what I do is I just let them know that I'm a real estate agent and that the service is actually free and like how you're paid is by the apartment directly, so it doesn't change their rent or concessions. So we do like provide a script because you're in the school group. I think look at like module 2 or 3, and there should be like a script on what to say, but you can also put it in your own words. You don't have to like you don't let little stuff hold you up. Like use our script, but if you want to make your own, just hop on ChatGPT and be like, make me a quick script that lets them know I'm a real estate agent. The service is free and working through me doesn't change their rent or mess up their specials. And then it'll spit you out like a really quick script. But I always kind of go through the same thing with people. What's even better though is usually I have to repeat myself and say that if it's like a call I'm taking over the phone and it's more of like a cold call in a way. But when I book Zoom calls with people is what I try to do with paid advertisements. Usually my ad explains everything. And then if they hit my landing page, my 1 minute VSL also explains everything. So like by the time they go through my video survey, see the ad and book, they already know the deal. So then I don't have to like stress about what to say over the phone because they booked a Zoom call. So if you can like eventually transition outside of like Craigslist Marketplace and Nextdoor and then start booking calls on your calendar, Zoom calls, it's much better in every sense of the job. All right, Marcus is saying like, how do you build your pipeline initially when you don't have like a big social media following? Yeah, so you do it organically, Marcus. Like use your Facebook Marketplace. It works. Just use it the way we teach with a video walkthrough since it lets you upload videos. And then on Marketplace, Marcus, what you want to do is get into a habit of sending like 1 or 2 messages and just pulling them off the platform to try to call you or you call them. So the way I do that on Marketplace is you can send voice messages. So like when someone replies to my ads organically, I'm shooting them a voice message and you want to entice them to call you. So if they're like, hey, is this available? You can voice message and say, what's up? It's Marcus. Yeah, I'm actually a real estate agent here. I focus on apartments. This is like the best deal I've seen. And they're also doing XYZ special. So just give me a call when you can, or just share your number with me. And so we don't lose this special and I can send you over there right away. Like you want to entice them over voice audio because Facebook lets you do that. You know what I mean? It's different compared to like Nextdoor or Craigslist or these other platforms that you can still lead gen organically. If you want the big list, it's in our program, like all the free methods and then how to run paid ads. But if you don't have a big social media following, just do the organic methods initially until you make like your first 10 grand. And once you have like 10 grand set aside, you can very easily take like a grand or two and then start running paid ads. And that's when you can like really predict your lead flow and then book more Zoom calls that are just much more comfortable, you know, because you want to like eventually stop trying to use Marketplace and Craigslist and Nextdoor and all the rent syndicate websites. You eventually you want to move out of that so you can just run ads and then just show up every day on your laptop and perform Zoom calls, because then your work as a locator just becomes way more enjoyable. You know, when you can just see everyone on your calendar and you just pop up, do the Zoom call, send them, get organized on Locator IQ, and then it's just a follow-up game after that, and you can make six figures. So yeah, but that's how you do it initially, Marcus. All right, Alyssa, what's up, Alyssa? I think you were on the last call too, Alyssa. Thanks for showing back up. um, and then so what do I do for like follow-up with the tour so you don't like annoy people? But also not lose them. Yeah. So what I do is I use Locator IQ, the CRM. So I always have like a ghosting protection. So when people start ghosting me, if I'm like, if my CRM notices that I'm like messaging them and calling them and they just don't pick up for like X amount of days, I think by default it's 7 days. It'll put them in the ghosting automation. So it'll text them and email them and voicemail and like for 30 days automatically until they respond. So if you power that automation with ChatGPT, all of those texts and emails will be unique every time, you know? So, you know, so that's my ghosting protection. But the follow-up protocol is I like double call people and I'll text them. And if they don't pick up, I keep doing that for X amount of days, like 6 days, you know? I will double call and text. And remember, the follow-up in this kind of business isn't like that hard because you're just following up on how the tour went and if they really toured and if they applied or if they need help with applying. So it's not like the worst follow-up in the world. You know, it's not that hard, is my point. You just need like a system with a pipeline. So if you're working 100 leads, which is normal for a high producing locator, like sometimes we work with Alex and I will do like over 200 leads if we're maxed out. So the whole point is just having some kind of a pipeline for organizing. A lot of locators use Trello because it's free, but you want to have something like some kind of pipeline organizer where you can make little reminders so you just don't forget what to do when you're dealing with 100 people. But as far as how to follow up, double call, text, wait the next day, double call, text, double call, text. And every time you make contact, you want to put a note in your CRM. So like whatever you talk about on that call, maybe they're like, we want to tour Saturday instead of Friday, put in that note. So as long as you like build a habit of following up with people using the double call text, and then if you make contact, any kind of updates, put in a note in your CRM. So the next time you follow up with that person, you can just pull up the notes and then stay consistent on what to do next. So it's all about having that pipeline system for organization. But at the end of the day, you know, you're just sending people to apartments and hoping that they apply. It's not like that hard of a business. Okay. Yeah, that's the protocol there. What's up, Devin? How do you handle clients who want like luxury, but like they don't have the budget to afford it, but you don't want to like kill the vibe? Yeah, that's a good question for sure. The only real way, Devin, is to educate them. Like when someone tells you they want a two-bedroom apartment downtown, Class A for $2,000, it doesn't really exist. You know, it starts at like 3,000. So the only way to sort of help them with that is like first off, educate them and be like, hey, in our city, you know, there's 3 classes of apartments. Class A are the nicest, Class B, Class C. And then you want to just tell them the range. So first off, you have to know before you educate someone else. But when I get those people, like instead of being rude and being like, that doesn't exist, what you can say is like, you can say something like, make it funny, like, yeah, I wish there was a $2,000 2-bedroom in downtown. I would apply right now and Airbnb it, you know? So like make it reduce the tension. And then I would say, actually, right now in our city, there's Class A apartments, Class B, Class C. Are you familiar? They never are. And you explain to them, right? One is more luxury, and then B is in the middle, and Class C is like white appliances. So then you explain to them like, what we're seeing now in the city, if you want to live downtown, is Class C kind of starts at this range, like 1,500. Class B kind of starts at like 2,000. And then class A is more like 2,500 and up. So you kind of like educate them, like that's just kind of what we're seeing right now, since we do this every day. But if you really want like a 2 for 2,000, not like 3,000 and up, what you might want to look into is like more central of the city. And then you kind of give them options like that. So you never want to tell someone no, but you want to educate them and tell them like, okay, well, this exists in a different location, just not here, right? And then another solution I like to give people is I'm like, look, what if I found you a $3,000 2 bedroom downtown, but they're doing 2 months free? So then you can prorate and take off like 500 a month when you prorate the special. Sometimes that works for people, but at the very least, it'll show them that like you're trying to come up with solutions to help them. So as long as they feel like you're not just saying no, you're trying to come up with ways to make it work for them, and you're educating them, and you're like, maybe we can grab a 2 month free special, prorate it. I can help you with that, and it'll drop the rent down for you. Like as long as people feel like you're trying to help them, they start trusting you and believing you. Okay, cool. Brianna, what's up, Brianna? What do you do when an apartment refuses? What do I do when an apartment refuses to pay the locator fee and or reduce it last minute? So sometimes you'll get like your commission reduced, not so much because the commission's reduced, but the however they calculate the net rent might fluctuate from the base rent. That's why whenever you create an invoice, it's a good practice to just try to call the apartment and confirm everything before you make an invoice. Because the last thing you want, Brianna, is like an invoice to be pending for a month and then you're $50 off and you have to restart the waiting process. So I always just call and I'm like, hey, I'm about to invoice you. Is it, $1,500 for the 1 bedroom? Is that what I should invoice for? And they'll tell you like, actually it's 1,480 because of the concession and however it calculates. So then you put in there 1,480, whatever the commission percentage is. So if you can't really control them slightly reducing the base rent, but what you can do is if they refuse to pay or whatever, what we do is we have collection staff to take care of this for all of our agents. But even if we fail, then we just forward those over to like a lawyer that aggressively collects for us. So that just kind of depends on like the brokerage firm you're with. That's why we always like recommend go with a firm that is heavily involved in apartment locating, not some general firm, because they'll never collect for you. Okay, cool. And then what's up, Carlos? He's saying, how do you stay organized? By the way, guys, if you're on YouTube, you might see more people or the school group. How do you stay organized with multiple clients at once? We kind of just covered that, Carlos. I think someone else asked that. So the way you stay organized and like not let anything slip through the cracks is what Carlos is asking. Is by getting some kind of a pipeline system. Again, a lot of people use Trello because it's free and it does kind of work, but then you can't like connect it to like better automations and more logic and like disqualify people. You want to see what I'm talking about? Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let me see. Like, so this is my sales funnel, okay? Let me show you, you know what? It'll be better to show you in the kind of like in the builder, right? Let me show you this. So like, this is how I pre-qualify people. Like I ask them a question here, and then it goes on to the next question. Let me show you the disqualifying questions I have. Like, this is what you can't really do with like Trello, right? Like, so I asked them this question about their credit score. So it's either like no credit established, below 550, up to 620, and then 620 or over, right? The logic here is like if they answer they have less than 550 credit score, I disqualify them. And you see right here how it like shoots them over. Let me show you. This is like what we call logic in digital marketing. You see how it like shoots them over based off this answer and it sends them to this URL. So like if someone is answering that they have like low credit, it shoots them over here automatically. And then this is like a landing page and it's like, hey, here's a better resource, fill out this form. Like we can't help you right now, but maybe this person can. And so once they submit the form here, you can like neatly organize them or refer them out to someone else. And depending on like how you're disqualifying them, like look, if we go back to let me show you the other disqualifier, like the background check, same thing. If they have like felonies or misdemeanors, it disqualifies them there and refers them out. Now, this one here is like we're asking them if they need to move in within 60 days or beyond 60 days. Because remember, you can't really help someone as a locator if they're trying to move in over 60 days away. So if we disqualify them here, we're actually going to shoot them over to like another landing page that says too early. All this like infrastructure stuff we teach in our program, but like, look, too early. So like if someone's like trying to move in over 60 days, it just shoots them here and it's like, hey, you're a little early. Here's how to get the best deal. And it tells them like apartments only really release pricing and availability within 60 days. So if you wait until like closer, you're going to get better options, better specials, and more leverage. And then we walk them through a video that like explains everything to them. And then it tells them like complete this form and then we'll get in touch with you, right? And so with this form, if they complete it, you can like neatly organize them in your locator IQ pipeline. That's like, this is a new lead, but they're looking to move in way later. So like all that advanced organization and disqualifying of people, you can't really do that with like basic tools like no CRM or like Trello. Like Trello doesn't do that, you know? So you need like a real CRM to like do the, and it saves you a lot of time because then you never have to deal with like unqualified people ever again, you know, because you have real infrastructure. This is how you can like really make six figures, do a bunch of Zoom calls, and then your life is like organized and you're not like going through your phone, like trying to stay in touch with everyone, you know? You need like real systems. I hope that was helpful. Let's see here, remove. Okay. After a certain point when we get out there, does it make sense to get a showing assistant or using a company like Show Me for the escorted visits? Yeah, I know what you mean by that. What market are you in, Eric? Because like in Texas, it's just so easy to work send, and even if the apartment requires you to escort and you don't, there's still a way to get paid. We have like a script and an email to like still get paid anyways, especially when you can like share a Zoom call link that's pre-recorded and you're like, look, we did the work, like, you know, um we couldn't escort today, but we did the work. Here's a Zoom call. Like there are ways to get paid anyways, but it really depends on your market, Eric. Like if you're in Texas, I would just work remote. Most apartments pay on send anyways. If you're in like Fort Lauderdale or South Florida, sometimes you can still send, but sometimes you might have to escort. So your question is like, does it ever make sense to get like an escort assistant? It depends on your numbers, man. Like for me, maybe in a month I might have to escort like 3 times. So the problem is that these locator payouts aren't as high as like a house closing. So if you can find someone that'll do it for a percentage, it might make sense. But again, like it's a $2,000 commission. So you're really going to pay like 10 or 20% for someone to escort and then your broker agent split, you know? So I would just, if it were me, like what I do is just wing it. I just send them the options anyways. And if they go and escort, I'll just try to convince them to pay me anyways. That's just what I do. You're in South Florida, Palm Beach. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. So if you're in South Florida where like a lot of apartments do require to escort, it depends, man. You might just want to escort like out, you know, we have a student that escorted in South Florida and he made like over 200K. It can still be done, but yeah, it's all about if you can find someone at a reasonable rate to do your escorting for you, you know? So, but then you have to communicate that like your assistant's going through, not you. I just don't think it's that viable with locating with such small commissions compared to house sales. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's kind of all the questions that we had today, though. If you guys are stuck anywhere else, just shoot me a DM on Instagram or just join the school group, and then you get a call with Alex, and we can support you on there. Hope that was helpful. See y'all later.